We're here in Bengaluru for Razorpay's FTX event, their flagship event. I'm joined by founders Harshil, Mathur, and Shashank Kumar. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for taking time out. Lots of exciting launches here. Let's start with the first one that caught my eye, which is the POS solution that you've launched today. Very, very interesting timing with that one as well. Who'd like to take that one, Harshil?
Sure. I think with POS, the idea was that while we see UPI QR code payments everywhere, when we go to larger brands like any large chain restaurants, stuff like that, we see QR code is still not front and center. People still prefer to pay via cards because the traditional POS devices are card first and QR second. So you have to press a lot of buttons and then QR code shows up. We wanted to change that. Like you see, go into a small panwala today and see a QR code right there. We wanted to ensure that even when you go to a large organized brand like a large clothing store, you see the QR code right there on the counter. And that's our foray into the POS space with our India's first enterprise QR device, which will allow enterprises and organized retail to accept QR code right at the counter. It supports both QR codes and card payments, but it's QR first. So when somebody enters how much you have to pay, you see the QR code first, and your natural instinct would be to take out your phone and scan it, then taking out your wallet and skimming through cards and doing all of that. So we believe that could really change the way UPI payments have changed non-organized transactions and retail transactions. We feel that can tilt the favor towards UPI in the organized retail as well.
Interesting. What's the early traction you're seeing with that product, and what's the availability sort of pan-India?
Yeah, so we have taken it live with, I think, about 100 plus stores today, and we've seen amazing traction. It is shifting the behavior where traditionally in organized retail, card dominates the payment as a payment instrument. In the stores that we have already deployed it, we're seeing UPI already being the majority of transactions because it's just natural for people to see a QR code and scan and pay. So it's changing the behavior quite significantly, and I think QR code is one of the only innovations where the smaller guys have adopted it first, and the larger guys have yet to adopt it. And I think that doesn't make sense for us, so we want to change that behavior completely.
Very interesting. Shashank, I'd like for you to come into and talk a bit more about the Razorpay's foray into growth marketing, right? You've launched an entire full stack platform with that. Could you elaborate a bit for that for our viewers?
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you look at a typical brand or a typical company, right, you spend a lot of marketing dollars on Google or Facebook or other marketing channels, but don't exactly have a handle on what kind of ROI that they're getting. At the same time, they have a lot of customers, right? If they're transacting again and again with them, then it's not easy for them to figure out what kind of loyalty program to build, what kind of benefits to provide them, right? So we have built a platform which is built on top of our payments infrastructure, and we are helping companies figure out how to acquire new customers, run hyper-local marketing campaigns, right? Reach out to new customers with different behaviors, and at the same time, figure out and design loyalty programs and give incentives to their repeat customers. So today, if you do a fourth purchase or a fifth purchase with a brand, then they can give you additional discounts or they can give you a free item and reward that loyalty. I think in today's hyper-competitive age where you have so many people providing so many services, you really want to stand out and you really want to ensure that your loyal customers are actually fairly well engaged with you and are actually spreading the word about your brand.
Interesting. We're also seeing the buzzword of the year and 2023 AI being thrown around a lot. What has Razorpay done with AI? I see you've launched a new concierge called Ray. Could you elaborate a bit on that, on how that affects the end users as well?
Yeah, sure. Today, we have millions of businesses using our platform for accepting payments, for vendor payments, for paying their employees, and many, many other operations. It's not always easy for businesses to come on board and then perform these operations. Sometimes they have a lot of queries and they don't know where to go. This is a very simple interface, very simple agent, who behaves like a human being. You just go and you ask your question, hey, how do I integrate payments? How do I pay salaries? How do I meet this compliance, right? And it will answer that for you. And not just that, it will not just answer your question, but it will also help you perform the action. So for example, if you want your settlement in next 5 minutes, it will allow you to do that. It will say you can settle immediately, right? And always in a very natural language conversation. So people feel like that, someone is listening to me and someone is solving my problems, and they associate these aspects of humanity, they associate these aspects of support with the Razorpay brand.
I just want to add that it's not just in English, it's also in Hindi already. So you can actually talk to it in English, in Hindi, you can do an audio conversation. So it's very natural. Whatever ways one want to talk to it, it will give a full-fledged offering. And it's not just answering questions. Like Shashank said, if you want like code to be generated to how do you integrate Razorpay, it will just generate that code and give it to you.
Yeah. Very interesting. Harshil, Shashank, I have you both here. I want to ask two more questions rather. You are both, Razorpay is a candidate for a potential reverse flip as well, right? Is that something you're looking at very seriously? Is there a timeline on that? And a second part to that question is, what is your metric to gauge when Razorpay is ready for an IPO? Is it a certain scale that you're looking at? Is it consistent quarters of profitability? What exactly is it?
Yeah, so on the reverse flip, I think we have already said that we are fully committed to moving back to India. So we already started that process. There's a long process because we're a large company. There's a lot of approvals and things that we need both on the US side as well as India side. So that process is already in motion. And in the next 6 to 12 months, I believe we should be able to finish that and move back to India, depending a lot on how quickly those approvals come through. But we want to list in India. We are quite certain that we are an Indian company. This is our market. This is where people know us. This is where we are innovating. We want to list ourselves in India, and that's why it's important for us to migrate back to India. Coming to the second part of the question, I think as a company, we can go IPO sooner as well. I think we've given ourselves a time of about 2 years within which we think we can be ready to go for an IPO. There are some internal benchmarks. I think one of the important benchmarks for us is that we want all revenue lines of Razorpay to be profitable, not just payments. I think payment side we are almost getting to profitability already, but there are other lines of businesses that are still new. We're launching a bunch of things today where we'll continue to invest. But in the next 2 years, we expect all of those to turn profitable, and that's when we feel we'll be ready to go in public markets where the market will appreciate the breadth of businesses that we are building.
Interesting. Shashank, do you want to add something to that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think at Razorpay, we are innovating for millions of businesses. And, when we launched in 2014, we launched a new age payment gateway, which is very mobile friendly. You don't need to think about, when you are doing a payment, you don't need to think about pressing a back button or worrying where your payments are stuck. And that has helped us, scale our payments platform. And in India now today, from 10 million people transacting online in 2014, there are 250 million transacting today. Yep. And we want to see that, in the next few years, we push this number up to 600 million people who come online and transact digitally for the first time. And to help with that, we are launching a new version of our payment gateway, which we are calling PG 3.0, which will help businesses create a lot of trust with Razorpay Trusted Badge. It'll help them give a lot of incentives and marketing offers. It will help customers transact in different languages and be able to pre-fill their addresses, their OTPs, and be able to transact in one click. So overall, PG 3.0 reduces 6 steps of payment gateway into one single step, and it will be the most advanced payment gateway that will be present in the country.
Super. Thanks so much, Harshil and Shashank, for taking the time out. Congratulations and best of luck for the road ahead.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.